What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Hoda Husband Podcast. I'm your host, Terry Duran. I got my co-host on the line with me, and I got my man, Jay Bob, on the building. What's good, bro?
Not much, man. See, we got SD missing again, man. Look forward to having him back, but we'll definitely hold it down for this week here. But want to quickly remind you, you can catch us on YouTube as well as follow us on TikTok at Hoda's Podcast. And for those interested in shout outs and promos, shoot us a DM at Hoda's Podcast, as well as email us at hodasapodcast@gmail.com. All right, T.
I want to remind everybody that y'all can catch the audio playback of the podcast every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on the core94.com. I want to also give a shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us laced with our background music. And I'd like to remind everybody that y'all can support the podcast or our Cash App and our PayPal. Tonight's episode is titled That's They Business. And we're going to be having a discussion about how publicity and public opinion impacts relationships. But y'all know how we do around here, man. We like to discuss things that we have seen that have been trending or that have been on our timeline. And so we got a couple of interesting videos to discuss this week. This first video is a clip from the Big Homie podcast where they're having a discussion about ethics in a relationship. Let's take a look.
So wait, you believe that in relationships, though, there are some lies that are okay?
I don't think no lies are okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that you just got to keep it a buck. But, I'm a person that have had secrets to myself. That's the difference with lying and keeping secrets.
Wait. I need to know don't. I need to break down that.
Hold on. She's spitting actually.
When I tell you sound like my best friend.
You spitting actually.
Wait a second.
That's your best friend?
Yes. What is the difference? What is the difference between secrets and lying?
Because if you asked me about something and I lied.
Okay,
but if you never knew about
you got to
it,
ask the right questions. That's what she's saying. You have to ask the right questions.
So wait. He asks you a question. Even if you wanted to keep it a secret, do you then be honest and tell him?
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Okay, and he got to deal with the truth.
Yeah, he shouldn't ask me.
Okay. I'll give her credit for her response at the end, that she would at least come clean. But I think that there is a such thing as lying by omission. You know what I mean? Like by withholding facts or details about certain things. What extent do you go to do it? Because we all do it to some degree, to what our kids and what you tell them and what you don't or whatnot. But in a committed relationship, you can definitely violate the relationship and actually have grounds to end the relationship by simply omitting certain things from your partner.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely give her credit too. At least she said, hey, she would be transparent if asked about it. But here's the thing. There's a lot of women that think like this, but just the opposite. Like, they would lie about omission or just wouldn't tell stuff, or have skeletons in their closet that they wouldn't want out there for one reason or another.
Yeah, I think in general, women press men a lot more and question them a lot more about things. I just think in general, men don't pay that much attention. And I don't think you really realize that until you've been a side dude. You know what I mean? Once you've had that experience, you see how the lies are put together, the stories, the social media posts, like all the coordination that go into things that women do behind men's back. Until you see it firsthand, you'll probably be kind of naive and gullible to a lot of the things that women say as well.
Here's the thing. Women understand this very well. They know that, sex will lull a man, especially if the sex is good. He's getting triple X rated sex on a regular basis. They know that will turn a man's mind off. And, she's likely to get questioned less if he's getting it on a regular basis. Because think about it, a lot of times when the problems arise or he starts really asking questions, starts, putting two to two together, is when the sex stops.
Yeah, there are a lot of situations that may not necessarily even involve sex.
Right.
A lot of times, the things that kind of, I believe that was Cash Doll she was talking to.
Yep.
Um, what the things that will be omitted are things where she might not have been planning to sleep with a dude, but she know the dude want to sleep with her, and she's entertaining it or finessing the guy or using it to get something out of it. So it's a slippery slope. Um, but I don't have a favorite towards men or women or whatnot for any sex. Withholding specific details from your partner that they would have a negative or have a problem with, to me that qualifies as just the same as lying, and it'll do just as much to the damage to the relationship when the truth comes to light.
I can give you one, for example, that I did a situation I know from a friend. So, abortions, right? Did not letting something like that out there. And, I had a friend, he didn't find out until, after they went through the in vitro process that, because I didn't even know this stuff until he told me, like, you find out all that stuff, you had abortions, while you're not fertile, they kind of get to the bottom of all that. But had they not went through that, he otherwise wouldn't have known, like, okay, she had a couple of abortions in her past.
I guess medical history is a touchy subject. That's
no doubt.
That's personal information. I don't know. I guess that would depend on if they had a discussion about it or whatnot. But so in the example that you just gave, if she was pretending like she don't have no clue why she's having trouble conceiving a child and denied every, what I'm saying, like that would be deception, and depending on the scenarios, you know what I mean, like the facts of the situation could determine whether or not that's a offense that's worth ending the relationship over, because secret abortions are things that could be a result of infidelity, you know what I'm saying, like
right,
like that's a major red flag for a woman in a committed relationship if she's having been keeping secrets about an abortion that she had either while she was dating a dude or since they've known each other. All those factors could come into play,
and things like that happen too more often than you know.
Yeah, man. A lot of the things that happen behind closed doors, most people never find out about. Even though we live in a generation now where there are more cameras than ever, and people feel the need to share more than ever. But there's still a lot of people that value privacy and understand that everything ain't for everybody. And you generally have better results when you keep things private. At least that was my experience, at least as a bachelor anyway. And, even in a relationship, which we'll get into that a little bit later on, that's kind of tied in to tonight's topic. That's their business, where we're going to be talking about having outside people giving their opinion and their 2 cents on your relationship. All those things are things that couples have to actively deal with, in today's day and age.
Yep, everything, like you said, everything's out in the open, everything's on camera. Everybody has an iPhone or an Android where they can record from and get everything in real time here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to getting to this next topic. This is a topic that comes up an awful lot, and there seems to be like this kind of universal feeling towards it. But I came across a video where a guy was asked a question: is it healthy to have relationships with your ex? So I wanted to just take a look and have a discussion about it. Let's take a look.
Is it healthy to stay friends with your ex?
Oh, 2 things that come to mind. The first is emotional maturity, and the second is romantic clarity. So emotional maturity is, does that person have the ability to see you with someone else and not be envious? Does that person have the ability to let you become who you're meant to be and not hold you back with who you were with them?
Oh, wow.
Does that person have the ability to respect that you're changing and transforming, or are they trying to keep you the same? and vice versa.
Yeah.
And then the second part, the romantic clarity, are we both sure that we're not just sticking around because there might be another chance?
Oh.
Are we both clear that there's a safe boundary here? Are we both honest and transparent enough to say we truly want a friendship with mutual respect, or the moment I can break your boundary, I will? And so to me, the answer is yes and no, because it all depends on whether we have emotional maturity and romantic clarity.
Man, that was a A+, you know, an A+ answer. I've never had anybody break down those two terms like that. So I don't know who that guy was, but he definitely provided a great response. I've never really had to deal with this situation. I haven't had very many relationships for majority of my adult life. I've been married, but prior to that, majority of my time I was single. And so there was only a couple of different occasions where I actually had a girlfriend that I was actually, you know, had to have boundaries for. But he hit it on the nose, man, that emotional maturity to where you not being petty, you not creating unnecessary drama. And then the romantic clarity, man, a lot of people, you know, it's almost inevitable if you have a sexual chemistry or a sexual attraction with somebody that something may pop off, and that's where a lot of people that try to co-parent or whatnot go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he hit this one on the head. I don't like. There's not one thing he said that I can say, "Wow, I disagree with that." He's absolutely right. I think it takes a level of emotional maturity. I say like this: with an ex, can you have an amicable relationship with them? Sure, absolutely. Like you said, it just takes a level of emotional maturity, because obviously both sides are going to move on. They're going to have other love interests, other romantic interests. But are you mature to handle that? Now, like you said, this doesn't say the sexual chemistry was there, or you still had that sexual attraction. I guess the temptation is always there to some degree, no matter what. But like you said,
I mean, well, the desire may be there, you know what I mean, like from one or both people. But again, the self-control would have to come into play. And then, the situations where you co-parenting where you have to have boundaries. When SD talks about it, that's one of the first things that he talks about, how he's able to have such a healthy relationship with his child's mother, without any of the drama. He said, he don't ask her about who she's dating and her sex life and all that type of stuff, which a lot of dudes do. They stand in that gray area where they know they're not your man, but they make it very clear that they would definitely smash, if given the opportunity. And we know that there are a lot of women that take that opportunity for a variety of reasons. It's human nature to, in a lot of ways for that to happen. And that, it's a struggle to be monogamous to begin with, you know what I mean? Like, so, but I wanted to kind of clarify, when he said be friends with an ex, that's a weird thing, right? You always hear people, we can still be friends, and all that. I don't know what that looks like. What you said is, we don't got beef. If we see each other or we interact, I can interact with, be at a party or be at an event with you without it being weird or awkward or whatnot. To me, that's what I mean by it maybe not being friends, but I could be friendly or cordial. I don't expect you to still, ain't nobody gonna go from being your boyfriend to just happily in the friend zone. You know what I mean?
And that's exactly that's my point. Exactly what I said. Hey, it's possible to have an amicable relationship with an ex, where, like you said, you see him in public someplace. You can say hello, how you doing, how's the family, and kind of go about each other's business. That's fine, or wherever you see each other at. But like you said, no guy wants to be just in the friend zone, and even women, they don't want to just sit there in the friend zone. But women know they're gonna, even though he's next, some of them will just be orbiters around it.
I mean, if you single and you come into an ex or you interact with an ex, that's perfectly fine. But like I said, it seems like there's this negative or this public thing where all exes ain't shit and you're ex for a reason, and they got all these kind of quotes and cliches.
Yeah.
But that don't really represent reality. There are a lot of reasons why a relationship may not have worked at a particular time, and that's not necessarily a reflection of the person. And we also have to take into account that people grow and mature over time. So some of their past experiences, maybe with that particular person, shapes them to be a better, a more prepared person later on when they're in a different position in life. Like that dude that was too immature for you in high school might be a completely different dude after he graduated from college.
Yeah, exactly. Or even if you dated somebody in college, so you dated them at 20 years old, and you come across him at 30, he's not going to be in most cases, that's why I wanted to put a disclaimer out there. In most cases, he's not going to be the same person at 30 years old that he was at 20 years old when you dated him in college. By then, he should be a whole different person, probably, have himself established, a level of maturity. Is that everybody? No.
Yeah, and I guess what the biggest factor for most people would be why the relationship ended in the first place. You know what I mean? Some people can mature and forgive even if it was because you cheated or you did them dirty. Like I said, having the ability to reflect on younger situations and past situations without getting in your feelings over it, I guess that takes a level of emotional maturity as well. But I think for most situations where people end up linking with the ex, it's a lot of times the breakup is over petty things. It's a breakup where there's some miscommunication involved. There's some twisting of words and all the kind of stuff that comes up whenever there's a conflict with the woman, how hard it is to get your point across or get it across how you actually meant it to come across. Those are all, things that the men, encounter on a consistent basis. But those are a lot of reasons that relationships end. I know with all the DMs and stuff that I get, a whole bunch of the assumptions or he don't give care, he don't give a damn because of this. Like, whoa, just because he didn't behave how you thought he should behave don't mean he didn't give a damn. So a lot of those kind of assumptions are used to make relationship decisions.
Yeah, but I think the difference between men and women, like I said, a lot of times, women make emotional decisions, or when they they show their emotions, they're quick to show their emotions. Where a lot of times men aren't always quick to show. I mean, you have emotional men that wear their emotionality, but there's a lot of men that think logically don't really show their emotions. So women think, oh well, he doesn't care, or he's just indifferent to the situation.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know how you're supposed to show each particular emotion. You know what I mean? Like, that's an unfair kind of expectation to place on somebody, because we're people. We do have feelings and thoughts and whatnot. But a lot of times we're aware that voicing your thoughts or your feelings or what you think you deserve ain't really productive. And so a lot of guys view a lot of that behavior as wasted time and energy. And it ain't a good look. You know what I'm saying? Like, a dude crying over a situation that he created or a circumstance that he put himself in.
Right.
Is a guy complaining about unfair treatment or unjust treatment, that's one thing. But I think most guys are even when it comes to friends or they homies, like, you leave your girl leave you because you had a baby on her. There ain't no real sympathy for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll remind you, like, when you was a crash dummy, like I thought, like, yeah, it's not gonna be a bunch of she should have gave you a second chance and she should have, like,
I mean, if they're, trying to trying to play a victim about something, especially for a problem that he created, yeah, it's not going to garner any sympathy or even respect from, especially from a woman. If anything, she's going to respect you even less.
Yeah, I wanted to get back to the point in the video about the friends, because one thing that comes up, or I guess don't really get talked about, is how your social circles gets impacted after a breakup. I was having a conversation with a homie of mine I didn't know he was separated, so he was kind of giving me the ins and outs of what separation after a very long period is like. And he's talking about how your friends and your family members, their relationship with your spouse, like sometimes they can't give it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
imagine, how
do you deal with, you don't want your spouse there, but your family still do? You know what I mean? Like, so stuff like that.
Tough.
Really tricky. You know what I mean? Like, because it's stuff that I had never. I'm like, damn, it's not something that I guess you just sit around thinking about, but that's a real thing.
It is. I mean, you think about it. You've been married to somebody, let's just say 5, 10, 15 years, right? A lot of y'all share the same circle of friends, same social circles, right? Same mutual friends y'all have. So what, like you said, what happens when it breaks up? Those things kind of get awkward. Family throws a function. Hey, I really like her. I want to invite her out, or I like him. I really want to invite him out. Then things get awkward there.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's just how things happen in society,
right.
in social circles, because one argument, like I know situations where, two homeboys, they wives get into it. Now they can't really hang out and right. Like stuff like that can have a adverse impact on your relationship as well. But just speaking of exes, somebody breaking up and the reason behind the breakup, man, a lot of times people have to pick sides. So,
I'll say that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know we dating ourselves, but one of the situations that reminds me of is Soul Food, on the movie Soul Food, how Miles got, everybody know he ended up smashing our girl. But at the end of the movie, the family was still accepting of him, even though him and Terry broke up. So
right.
Ideally, you would like to keep it like that. You know what I mean? Because honestly, like if me and my wife ever broke up, like, man, I would miss my father-in-law and my in-laws and people that I've had relationships with. You know what I mean? So it's human nature, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, we are up against the clock. We about to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be getting into tonight's topic, That's They Business, where we're talking about how publicity and public opinion impacts dating and relationships. Y'all are tuned into the Ho to Husband podcast. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, I'm relationship coach and author Terry Duran, and I am pleased to announce that my book, It's Not That Complicated, is finally available as an audiobook. So if you don't like to read, or you just don't have time to read a paperback book, this audiobook is perfect for you. You can listen to it while you're in your car, while you're at work, etc. In the book, I break down how husband material men think and operate in regards to sex, love, and relationships, and I provide real quality insight on how husband material men approach dating. The audiobook is available on audible.com and on iTunes. All you have to do is go to one of the websites and search for my name, Terry Duran. Go download your copy today.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Ho to Husband podcast. Tonight's episode is titled That's They Business. We just want to have a conversation about publicity, how public opinion, rumors, all those type of things can impact dating and relationships. Now, in the society that we live in today with social media and all that, text messaging, we can send video, we have group chats. Discussions about other people's business is commonplace. it's always been common, barbershop talk, salon talk, etc. Has always been a part of social networks. But now it's been magnified to a level because people can leave their opinion and it's there for other people to chime in. So you can go viral for something that's, a trauma for your family or something that's very private. So we live in a scary world out here these days.
Absolutely. Like you said, everything is on social media. Like, when you post your relationship, it's out there for social media to see. And if you post the problems in that, within social media, it's out there for the world to see, like you said, and those things can go viral as well. I think really, especially in a relationship, I think you got to be careful when you hit send, and even in general, I think you need to be careful and think twice before you hit that send button. Because once you hit send, once it's on it, especially if it goes viral, it's there forever. There's no trying to scrub it or nothing.
Yeah, and then sometimes, we know the subliminal posting, and you posting a message that's, to let people know that you mad at your spouse and all that. Like, to me, all that stuff is off limits. You know what I mean? Like, all those things are counterproductive to actually having a healthy relationship, because posting stuff about your partner, like, I don't see how Cardi B and Offset, lasted as long as they did. Right. Like, they had so much toxic energy. Social media is a toxic place to begin with. But whenever you're talking about infidelity, when you are talking about, people being exposed and side chicks posting videos, it's just like, man, I can't imagine dealing with all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the world we live in. This is the norm here in today's day and age. It's not like back in the day, back, let's just say 20, 30 years ago, you got your girlfriend, wife, and somebody got a day inside chick or living a whole nother life on the whole other side of town somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. But it's such a big thing now that a person's level of social media activeness, in a large part, that kind of determines compatibility for a lot of people. Because I can't imagine, I don't really consider myself to be no influencer. I don't go around everywhere recording myself and doing all that. I just have a platform to discuss dating and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't live like that. And I can't imagine dating somebody that did, where we got to set up the camera for everything, and we got to take a before video of the food, and like, I could not operate like that. Like, that would annoy the hell out of me. So I think that's a real thing. You have to,
but
how somebody handles and deals with social media matters.
Yeah, but I guess that comes with dealing with an influence, depending on who it is. Some people just live for that, live to post stuff on their stories, on especially on TikTok. It brings them clicks and views, and it's, in a lot of cases, they're able to parlay that into other things here and other ventures. So I guess with that, the best way to put it, you just got to take the good with the bad with that, and choose if you want to deal with that or not.
Yeah, I mean, there ain't no, I guess, ain't no right or wrong way, right? It just depends on what your ultimate goal is. But we talk about it all the time. Your activity on social media definitely has an impact. And for sakes of this conversation, how you respond to opinions from others impacts it. Because I can't see anybody that listens to something's going on with you and your spouse or the person you dating, you posted on your story, and now you addressing and going, you going live, talking to your followers about your man. Or I don't really see guys do that very often. I know that there are guys that do it.
I don't see the point. I don't really see the point of that either, because I don't see what do you seek to accomplish by doing it, instead of talking to the person, and addressing it with them, and trying to have effective conflict and figure out a solution there to it. going on social media, talking to a bunch of strangers, people that you don't know, and just everybody voicing their opinion, their 2 cents on it. I don't see how that.
I think a lot of reasons. Well, for one, and a lot, it embarrasses the other person if they actually care or don't want the business out. And then I think most importantly, especially why a lot of women do it, that's the fastest way to make yourself the victim. You know what I mean? Like if you go live and you crying and you gotta, you know what I'm saying, like expect you pregnant and he's, you know what I'm saying, like there are a bunch of different
gotcha. You know, for me,
sympathy.
No, I got you. I guess for me, you know, I'm just not a fan of it one way or the other here. Whoever does it, I don't see what good comes out of it from there.
No, I think, you know, we're from the generation that predates social media. So for us, that's a crazy thought to run to social media. But for, you know, man, people post some of their most important moments, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it in life or death situations where you just have to let people know what's happening. That's one thing. But a situation where you're trying, especially a situation where you want it to work out, where you actually hope to resolve the issue, making it public, I don't really see how that improves any dating situation. Yeah. Now, I wanted to ask you, so when do you think it's appropriate for somebody to give they 2 cents on somebody else's relationship?
I say if they have actual tangible actual information towards the relationship, if they have something to offer, and I think that could be helpful to the relationship, then I think it's appropriate for them. If they're just, kind of just talking just to talk, or just, I guess leave negative comments, for lack of a better description here, I don't think that helps. I don't think it's really appropriate to do, because you see this a lot on social media, right? Whatever clip towards a relationship goes viral on Spiritual Word, right? Everybody's leaving their 2 cents for whatever reason. Or even we see shows like, Kendra G goes live every week and everyone kind of leaves their 2 cents, whether it's a man or woman stating what they want in a relationship. So I say if you have something to offer, I think that's the best time, in my opinion.
I mean, I've been giving people advice my whole life. But for the most part, I would say when it's solicited, you know what I'm saying? When somebody's coming to me and asking, I don't just voluntarily give my thoughts on other people's relationships. I maybe I just got the mind my business vibe for the most part. But in the, social media space, a lot of people send me questions and ask for my perspective on it. And so what I've at least tried to do with my brand or my platform is I just try to take everything that I'm given and try to give my 2 cents on it from a rational, reasonable male perspective. This is how a husband, father that's a regular 9-to-5 guy is most likely gonna feel about the scenario. And so I think that's why so many guys resonate, because I'm not giving you the materialistic perspective. I'm not giving you you're a king, you should be able to do anything you want perspective. Nah, man, you're gonna have chores, like to keep your house functioning. You're gonna have to do a whole bunch of stuff you don't want to do. You're gonna have to spend money on a whole bunch of stuff you don't want to spend money on. But that's kind of the role that being a dad and a father is.
Absolutely. And I'll add this to it. I think you give great actual tangible advice. So somebody, ask you a question, you actually put context, you take the time to put context behind it, why you believe this, right? You give a reason, a rationale behind it, where most people don't. Like, you go to these other, I guess, so-called relationship gurus, right? A lot of times, they'll say this, but then they're selling you a course or a service or something, consultation and all this. So you're not doing all that. You're not selling them a master class or something else or whatever service.
Nah, man, it's funny, one of the things that I take kind of the most pride in is just being authentic. Like, the people that know me in real life, they know that I'm just talking. Like, I don't have to prepare for what I think or my perspectives, because when I was single, this is how I was moving, and this is how, these are tried and proven theories on how men operate. And in order to be one of the men that have the most success, the pattern for success is very, it's cookie cutter in a lot of instances. And so the fact that anything that I talk about, there are going to be examples from real life that you can see what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like that's if the question was, how can you tell if an influencer or somebody is real or authentic, that would be the defining piece for me. Are the things that they talking about logical, and do they apply in everyday relationships or scenarios that I see? And is it something that happens throughout society? Those are the things that let you know if somebody's keeping it real with you.
You're right there, but sometimes folks aren't thinking like that. I think they're just, a lot of times, especially they're buying these classes or whatever it is, they're just desperate to hear something. And I guess, if it identifies with them or reinforces a disposition, they'll be quick to, okay, well, let me go with this person and listen to what this person has to say. So I think that happens as well.
I mean, it's hard for me. See, I'm on this side of the fence to where
Right.
I give the advice. I can't imagine having to go to a guru or somebody to get dating advice and whatnot. To me, I've been figuring this out since 12 and 13, how to put myself in position among my competition. And so as I've gotten older and I just have more and more resources to use, to me, finding, time companionship and sex from women is easy for guys that live my lifestyle or are in my position. And so to give people the wisdom on what it actually takes to have a healthy relationship, I feel like that's the value that I could actually provide, because, me and my wife have similar thoughts on social media. You know what I mean? Like she posts on her story and all this stuff when she goes out and what she's doing or whatnot, but we don't put our business on social media. Like, you're not gonna see me and her going back and forth on my story. Like, to me, that's wild. I don't see how nobody, like, I can't even imagine that. That's one of the fastest ways to get you cut out of my life.
Yeah, I've never seen you or her really post personal stuff about each other's relationship, or even I don't even think I can't recall ever seeing like, hey, date night, or this is what restaurant we're at together. I don't think I've ever seen.
Well, we do that occasionally, but majority of the time we don't. One, I don't really think about videoing and photos when we just doing stuff. But she doesn't like the reaction from my followers when they see her. Like, she don't care about having followers. She don't want to be an influencer or nothing. So she ain't trying to get her followers up. So she don't want all the people coming to her page and people she don't know following her and all that. So that's why. So it's cool. It work out for me. I ain't gotta be thinking about it or concerned with it. And when she do want to post something, she do.
You know what? I think this speaks to another point. I guess in the initial dating stage, are they big on social media or are they not? I think it's best to find somebody that's similar in your beliefs about social media. If you're somebody that doesn't care too much for social media, doesn't care about following or attention on social media, I think it's best to have somebody that's similar in that regard, as opposed to somebody that wants to just post all day, every day on social media. It just is always into social media like that. Don't think that's a practical dating situation, in my opinion.
Well, it's kind of like when at least how I view it, it seems like kind of a chicken and the egg situation when you talk about dating and social media, because so from a male perspective, any woman that I'm gonna shoot my shot out is gonna be attractive. So her social media is most likely gonna be popping. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's not private, you know what I mean? There are going to be guys that are shooting at her. They're going to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, her pictures are going to get a bunch of likes and all that. So that it is what it is. You can't hold that against her because she, you know what I'm saying? Like, unless she's, sexualizing it. If she's obviously, if she's, Yeah,
You know,
like I wouldn't even be
being
focusing
extra
or
with the
thinking
thirst
like
trap.
that. Yeah, like if she was in her panties or you know what I'm saying, like just doing the most, that's one thing. But just an attractive woman posting her life is going to attract other people just by default. So I don't think it's really fair to hold that against her. One thing that I wanted to talk about when it comes to publicity, right? Just people knowing about your dating situation. Uh, I know a lot of people that are very secretive about who they date for these very reasons because of the problems that come with people in your business. You know, people making assumptions about what's going on your dating situation by any piece of information that they can get. You know, like some of the assumptions that um, people come up with for me. You know, that's why my wife don't really engage with my followers like this. She's like, man, it's some crazy people that, you know, especially the ones that, you know, hate you, but they on your page every day. Like those people really got issues, man. You know, so like they a lot of times they don't really have no life in real life. So that's where they feel the most, you know, recognized or seen. And so I guess if you're somebody that kind of lives through your social media, I get it. But that's a tough space to be in because if everything you do has to be validated by social media, then how are you going to separate that from your personal life? You know, so
You can't really if you're somebody that lives your life on social media and everything there, you can't really separate it in real life. I would say it's at least it's real tough to do.
yeah, I mean, because people notice when you have followers, they notice your patterns, and that's how. Soon as you delete all the pictures of your boyfriend, people know. When you stop posting you and your boyfriend, people know. You know, like it's easy to pick up on patterns once they stop. So, in my opinion, is in your best interest to really not start or just be selective with it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like if you're not actively on the market, it really shouldn't matter what the public think about you like that. You
but
know?
you, but you know what? I think that's another thing. I think people put too much into people's opinions on social media, right? Even people that you don't know, right? I think people put too much stock in it as opposed to just worrying about the person that you're dealing with. Because I think that's what truly matters there, not a bunch of people outside of the relationship here.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's something that happens no matter where you at. You
Yeah,
know, couples in public. You know, a older man with a really young woman. There are gonna be people in public that comment and discuss their relationship. So outside people are always going to have an opinion. So like I said, the most important thing is how do you respond to it? And if you're not doing things that create viral moments or negative publicity, because one good example, DDG, Haley Berry's baby daddy.
yeah,
They recently had a situation where um, he went on the live stream and he brought the baby and he had the baby on the live stream. And I think she put up a post, you know, comment about it like I would have liked to known something to that effect.
yeah.
And it created a whole storm over it. Viral moment, all kind of millions of people chiming in or whatnot. And I appreciate that he had the wherewithal to actually go out and put out a statement. Hey, leave her alone. She has a right to feel that way. It is her child. You know, so like, even though I don't think most women would do that for the guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, but the fact that he actually went out is, and you know, it's okay for her to express her thoughts and feelings, even if she did it in social media. So I appreciated that. I thought that was real mature.
Oh, no question.
So the this next question that I wanted to ask is have you ever had a situation where somebody in your family they tell you about a situation where they about to break up or they get separated, and you form a negative perception of this person, and then the next thing you know, they back together and it's all good.
You know what? I've never had that with family. I've never seen that. I've never had that happen to me. I haven't seen it directly for me. What about you? Has it happened within your family or even friends circle?
I've had situations like that happen with friends and family, to be honest. In my family, I've had people that have gotten divorced and got back together years later. So I've seen situations like that. And then I've seen the same thing with my friends or people from college where they separate or they break up. And then a couple years later, they changed their name back or they started dating again. And so, again, a lot of that has to do with why you broke up or what caused the breakup. But I think it's human nature to kind of forget what you was beefing about if it wasn't nothing that was really made.
I think that's an interesting dynamic there because I almost feel like once somebody initiates the breakup, I almost feel like it's the point of no return, especially even when one initiates divorce. So I always wonder, okay, what gets them back together? What got them back together? What made them thought, what, maybe this isn't a good idea here. Let's try to work this out. I guess there's different things that maybe some go to marriage counseling or some sort of couples counseling, but I always wonder, what's the reason behind it or what's the why there?
I don't really know. A lot of the times, man, people don't need to get divorced in the first place. Like, if the goal is actually to make the relationship work, but feelings get involved, egos get involved, public perception gets involved. I'm gonna look stupid. You hear all those kind of things. They have me out here looking stupid. What they, what I'm saying? Like, especially when it comes to cheating or something like that, because that's what a lot of people are. They're more upset about the public knowing about it than the actual act in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
That public humiliation, that embarrassment that can come from, whatever the case might be, just from somebody breaking up with you and moving on, it can be embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're depending on who you dating and how profile it is. So there are a bunch of things that come into play that people don't really know what to expect, because we talk about it all the time. It's easy to get that it's greener on the other side of the fence type of mentality.
Oh, no question. As I say, greener grass is an illusion for everyone. Has their confusion there.
Yeah. So I guess in conclusion, man, how your maturity level in dealing with the outside voices and opinions on your relationship are going to play a big factor in whether you're going to be able to sustain your relationship, because there are going to be situations where family members may not like your spouse or the conflicts may come up, and you have to navigate those things. It don't come with an instruction manual, and there ain't no right way to do it. So if you can do it in a reasonable manner, in a way that's logical, in a way that's fair, those are all components of a quality man. If you got a guy that's operating on that type of time, you should be able to get through most things and come up with a solution that works for everybody.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. Looks like we are up against the clock, so we're about to get up out of here. But before we go, I want to give another shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us laced with our background music. I want to remind y'all to continue supporting the podcast through our Cash App and our PayPal. Jay, I appreciate you linking up so we can get this episode knocked out. Look forward to when we get SD back in the building, so we can get the chemistry back popping. This has been another episode of the Ho to Husband podcast, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.